Well, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to yet another Northeast Outdoors video. If you follow my channel, you know I'm a huge fan of frog fishing. I do it every time I see lily pads and as much as possible. So today I'm going to go over a few tips I've learned over the course of my career in frog fishing and share them with you on how to catch more fish, get more hookups, all of the stuff that usually comes with frog fishing, all the struggles. I'm going to give you some answers to some of those very painful issues that can come along with hollow body frogs. Very quickly before I get into this video, I want to give a huge, massive shout out to Old Town Fishing. They sent me this kayak in a giveaway, and as you can see, if you watch any of my other kayak fishing videos, the setup here is much better, longer distance to the camera, and I can kind of move around a bit more, reach for it, all that good stuff. Also, huge shout out to Mountain Khakis. Also in that giveaway, they make some really good stuff I can use for fishing. A lot of waterproof clothes, which comes in super handy, as long as some sunproof hoodies get you covered up on these long summer days. Absolutely clutched up with that one. But I won't drag it for too long. We'll get right into it. So first things first, when you get your frog out of the box, you're gonna have a pretty long skirt on it. I already trimmed this one, but typically they're like down to here. They're far too long. So what I do is I'll flip my frog over so it's upside down, and I'll trim the skirt to just about the same length as a frog. This is gonna keep the fish from like short striking it more down here, because a lot of times they'll grab the legs and then try to suck it in. So if you trim the legs down a bit, they're gonna wanna grab onto the body more. Now secondly, you can see with some frogs, the hooks on these kind of run straight up and down, whereas this is a different frog. The hooks on these almost bend inwards, like they wanna run in this way. I tend to find that these hooks that run straight up and down do a lot better than these ones that kind of bend inwards. You get a lot better hookups on these, and you hook up a lot more frequently, because with frogs, a lot of times you can miss a lot of bites. So if you have a frog that's bent inwards, you can take some pliers and kind of bend them out so they're more perpendicular instead of pointing in. Just don't bend them too far out to where they're not touching the frog body, or else it's not really gonna be weedless anymore. Now the last thing you can do with your frog, if you're really struggling with hookups, you can take this hook, you can kind of see how they're pretty much in contact with the frog. You can grab the top of it with some pliers and just bend it a little bit up so the tip's just exposed like that. You don't want to do it too much, or else again it's not going to be weedless, but if you do it just a tiny bit, it's going to help a ton with the hook being able to catch the inside of the fish's mouth. You're going to get a lot more hookups like that, and you're going to get a lot more fish. Now first things first, the setup you should use for frog fishing. I got heavy rod, fast action. This is St. Croix Bass X. There could be an argument made for the reel. I use a low gear ratio reel because I like to have more power when I'm cranking, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, you could very easily get away with a high gear ratio reel, and that is what a lot of people use, just because when you're fishing in this thick stuff, they're usually throwing frogs in. You want to get them out as fast as possible, so having a high gear ratio reel helps with getting them up and out of that thick stuff. They won't dig it back into it, but it's kind of up to your preference there. Now, as far as line goes, I would always recommend at least 50 or more for fishing this stuff. Gives you all the confidence you need to be able to yank them right out of here. I run 65-pound Daiwa J-Braid, the X4. I think it just casts very well, comes off the reel super smooth. Super sensitive, even though you don't really need sensitive line when you're frog fishing. It's pretty much based on sight. But overall, I think this is some very good line. Can't really go wrong with it. And they're jumping out of the water, going after these dragonflies. Oh! Did not get that one. Saw him come flying out of the water, gave him a second eat. Did not get the hook up. There it is. Oh, that's a decent one. Oh yeah, man. Oh. Come here, bud. Oh, he came off. Dang it. That was a good fish right there. So you saw on that one, the mistake I made there, set it a little too early. With these frogs, when you're setting the hook, you really want to let them kind of chew on it, because usually they might grab these back tail or not get it in all the way. If you give them a second to suck it down, you'll get a much better hook set. It'll stay like right in their mouth. But that's tip number 2 with the hook set. Make sure you let them chew on it, or else you're gonna miss a lot of fish and you're gonna get pretty angry. You can see what I'm talking about with this heavy setup though. If I didn't have this, I'm dragging that thing through these lily pads over here, that thing would have snapped me off right away. And you really need to set that hook hard to get these thick hooks through their mouth. Oh, I had him. No, I felt the weight and everything. Well, sometimes that just happens. They won't get it all the way, but you can see I kind of gave it a second to eat, then went right back on it. You really want to drive that hook into their mouth, but probably could have let them eat a bit more, but that was kind of just unfortunate. So hopefully the way this video goes is I give you a tip, then I get a bite or catch a fish, then I give you another tip, repeat. But fish don't like cooperating most of the time, so we'll see how that goes. Now, another thing you can do when it comes to the hook set, you can do one of 2 things. Most of the time I do option A, which is you kind of just let it eat and then rip back on it when you're feeling ready, when you think that fish has it. Option B, which is probably the smarter option, but I get too excited, is when the fish eats it and it goes down, you give it a second, you slowly reel into it, and you'll be able to feel the tension in your line and like feel the fish swimming, or just feel the fish in general. And at that point, when you have the weight on that line, then you can set it and you really know the fish has it in its mouth. That's kind of what I did there, but didn't fully get the fish. Oh, are you kidding me? Is that a pickerel? Just saw my lure getting eaten. I think that was a pickerel. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that one was a pickerel. I wasn't even prepared for that. There's a fish. Oh my God. Oh, that was a pickerel. Thing aired out of the water. I'm not getting any hook sets today. It's terrible. Everybody watching this video is gonna be like, wow, this guy's trying to tell me how to fish a frog and he can't catch a fish on one. I promise this is not usually how it goes. Now you can see the stuff I'm fishing with this frog is pretty much anything that's covered or has shade, anything like that I wouldn't be able to get a normal lure into, like a spinnerbait or maybe even a soft plastic. It's the best when you have good lily pad cover. Maybe there's a log or something, there's a tree hanging over that provides shade. Any of that is really good stuff to chuck a frog into, because that's a place where a fish is gonna sit pretty close to the surface and be looking for something to eat. I thank you guys for watching today's video. If you found it useful, make sure to leave me a like. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to keep up with all the content. So leave me a comment down below what videos you want to see next. I like to make sure I'm staying relevant to what you guys want to see. So yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you on the next one.